Okay, guys, so here we are with the Excursion. And I think that we got a bad alternator. So let's get going. All right, guys, so here's the deal. For some reason, our batteries are going dead. I don't think that it could be a case of both batteries that gone bad again. Now, remember, when we got this project, we initially bought it and both batteries were dead. That's why we bought new batteries. Now the batteries are draining on us. And I think that the reason that the previous batteries were draining was because of a bad alternator. Now, here, if you see, we can check the battery levels. We just charged them last night. Here we go. How do you check that? There you go. It's at 12.7 and 62%. That one's fine. The other one, we just charged it also. So if you see the three lines right there, it's fine. Now, the way that I think it's the alternator, it's because we left the batteries on all night and there's no loss of voltage. Hold on, let me show you this. Check it out. I got a little voltmeter here. So let's just go ahead and take off the charger. And if we take off the charger, guys, this is where I kind of noticed that it's not a phantom draw. If it was a phantom draw from somewhere that is drawing power, it would be drained out, or at least there would be a difference. And if you check right here, yesterday it was at about 12.9, 12.8, and if you see right here again after all night, it's still the same. Meaning that if there was something that was drawing power, I don't know, some circuit or some relay, or sometimes the radios on these draw powers, phantom, and just a whole bunch of things, then obviously the batteries would have drained. Now, a little while ago, off video, I disconnected both of the terminals, and I checked the battery, and I did the same thing to the other one, and they're still the same at 12.8, 12.9. It's about the same. So there was no phantom draw. Now, I have this battery charger, and this battery charger has a feature that you can actually check the alternator. This is where it kind of started leading me to it was an alternator. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a way to test the alternator without having one of these. So for right now, we're going to go ahead and do the test with this one, and then I'll show you how to test the alternator without a battery charger that could actually test the alternator. So let's go ahead and put the leads on the vehicle. Get this out of the way. Okay. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to go and start the engine, and we're going to go ahead and press alternator test. Now also right there you have that battery warning that doesn't come off. Of course, that's going to be another warning, but let's go over here. Now that it's connected, we're going to go and press the alternator test. And right there, faulty alternator. All right, so now you know that you do have a faulty alternator, but what happens if you don't have one of these? This is the way that you can test it. Check it out. Let's get this out of the way. So what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and get your voltmeter, and you could buy these at Harbor Freight. I don't know how much this one is, but there's some at Harbor Freight. I've seen them for like $6 or something like that. You could just go get one of those. It's a good tool that I guess you could use over and over. But anyhow, what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and turn it on. You're going to make sure that it's in DC. It's the one with the straight line and then the three dotted lines. You're going to go ahead and put it on 20. And then what you're going to do right now is that you're going to go ahead and press put the positive one on the positive lead, and then the negative one, you're going to put it on the negative lead. Now, you see how right there it says 12.6. When the truck is running and the alternator is actually feeding current, very little, but it's feeding current to the batteries, this should gradually climb to about 14.5 volts. So right now we're going to turn it on, and we should see that this gradually climbs. If you don't have one of the battery testers battery chargers that can test your alternator, this is a really simple way to do it. Let's check this out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it there. And you should see it start rising. No change. No change at all. It should go from 12 to 13, 13.8, 14, 14.2, 14.5. Because the alternator should be feeding current to the batteries. That's the first sign that I'm thinking that it's an alternator. Okay. So right there, by doing that test, that's already giving me somewhere to go to. I know it's not the batteries. I know it's not a phantom draw. It's not a circuit. It's not a relay, something that's draining the battery overnight. Maybe the door stayed open and the lights inside the cab, whatever, it's not that. I already charged the batteries, and the batteries are good. They maintain charge. Right now, we just tested it with this, and the alternator is not giving current. So now let's move on to this area, because this is where we think it's happening. So let's get there. Okay, so now that we're up here, what you want to do, guys, is that with the vehicle on and with the leads touching and the voltmeter monitoring, what you want to do first is that you want to wiggle these cables. Sometimes these cables just become loose, or the pigtail gets jacked up or whatever. But sometimes you'll be able to move them, and as soon as you move them, you're gonna see. You're going to see that jump from like 12 something to 14 something, and that is going to tell you that the pigtails or maybe the connector of the alternator is bad. Sometimes, I mean, this one they feel pretty solid, and I've already done it, so I know that it doesn't matter how much I wiggle them, it's not gonna change. So on this one, I am leading me more to think that it's the alternator. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take out this plug. Hold on. Check out this plug. You're going to inspect it. Just make sure that it's not broken or anything. But in this case, mine looks pretty nice. It looks pretty intact. You have a red wire with an orange. You have an orange wire and a green wire. This one is always going to be constant power, and we're going to check it by putting that right there. And then we're going to take this one, and then we're going to go ahead and put it in there. And if you see right there, it still has the 12 point something volts. This one, which is a green one, it's not really going to have any power. So we're going to put that there, and no draw at all, no power. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to go ahead and put the key forward. This is switched. So when you put the key forward, you should have 12 volts right there. Let's go ahead and do that. Get the key, go ahead and put it forward. We come back. Go ahead and check this out. And there you go. Now you have the 12 volts. Okay? Key back, there's no power. Key forward, there is power. The second one is constant power. So what that tells me, guys, is that if we would have done key forward and there would have been no power on this one, then what that tells me is that there might be a problem with the fuse box, with a relay, the wires cut, something. And then I would have to follow this wire all the way down. But in this case, we are getting power, constant power and switch power. So the only other thing that it could be this wire that is being cut off or something somewhere, or the alternator is bad. In this case right here, I've already checked this wire, and this wire looks intact all the way to the bottom, so it pretty much narrows it down to I have a bad alternator. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and remove the alternator. We'll take it over to O'Reilly's, have them test it, and if need be, we'll just get another alternator and we'll do the test again. All right, hold on. All right, guys, so we just removed the alternator, and one thing that I noticed is that this connection right here, it's pretty jacked up, guys. I mean, it's all corroded, so it's leading me more and more to believe that we're on the right track. It's going to be the alternator. Let's head over to O'Reilly's, guys. All right, ready to test it? And guys, as you can see, we have a failed alternator. So now we know our problem. Let's go ahead and get a new one, and we'll go ahead and get installed in the truck. Alright guys, so as you can see, we already put the new alternator back on, connected everything, connected the batteries, and only one thing left to do. Let's go ahead and try it again. We're going to go and get the truck running. We'll go ahead and put the leads on one of the negative, one of the positive, and then we should see that the voltage goes up to 14.5. And that means that the alternator is back and everything should be good to go. Now, you can see right there, the battery warning already came off, so that's a good sign already. And there you go, guys. It's at 14.16. That's more than enough. That means that the alternator is working. So, okay guys, there you go. That's the easiest way to check an alternator. Just follow the steps that I told you, and I mean, if you could go get one of these at Harbor Freight, they're like $7. You have a good tool on your hands. Once again, guys, thank you for support. Like and subscribe.